Welcome to 5 Stripe Weekly, everyone. In this episode, we seek to pull some positives out of a very frustrating week for 5 Stripes fans. And later on, we take a dip into the mailbag to answer your burning questions. All that and more, coming up.
Welcome to the show, 5 Stripe fam. I'm AJ, this is Tanner McLeod. Before we get into it, become a member of the notification squad by hitting the bell next to the subscribe button on YouTube or hop over from Facebook and subscribe. You can now also find all our content on the Genico USA platform anywhere in the world on Amazon Fire TV, Roku, iOS, Google Play, and many other streaming platforms. So guys, let's first quickly talk about that Monterrey match that saw us crash out of the Champions League.
We still won on the night.
Yes, indeed. It was a more positive performance from the 5 Stripes for sure. But it was that lineup that definitely saw LGP get replaced by Jeff Loretowitz in the lineup. We also saw Mikey Ambrose played on his more natural left wingback position. And I think on the night we were a lot better, a little bit more, at least I think we were creating some more chances than we normally do. At least lately this year. And in terms of what they were doing in terms of Monterrey, yes, they parked the bus completely. They sat in a low block and they dared us to try to break them down. Unfortunately, yes, we lost 3-1 on aggregate over the series tie, and so yeah, it is what it is. But that positive is that we were the first team to beat Monterrey in this calendar year. So I think at least we have that, but on a whole, just still not good enough.
Yeah, I mean, it was frustrating because I think with how that game was going, you could really see how much that last 10 minutes down in Mexico really hurt Atlanta United in this tie. Because if you can manage to hold it at 1-0, then Wednesday means a whole lot more. I think in that scenario, Monterrey would have played a bit more as well. They're going to be the best team that Atlanta United plays this year. They are the most valuable. They can invest whatever they want to. They're in a great city in Mexico. They're one of the biggest teams in Mexico. So it was always going to be a tough challenge, I should say, for Atlanta United. But, in those games, sometimes you can make it tight. And I think that Atlanta United, for as much as they did do, the goal came pretty late when it finally did come.
Yep.
There were some half chances here and there. Mind you, Monterrey were playing #crossbar challenge and hit the post, hit the crossbar twice in a very crazy string of events early in the second half that could have, killed everything. But, the team, they went for it maybe a bit too late. They changed their shape a few times, 4-3-3 and 4-2-3-1 kind of. Those look really promising. And so the team got applauded off the pitch. They got clapped off, rightfully so. They played their hearts out. And I think we really were hoping that there'd be some positives to build upon and to go forward from that match into Philadelphia.
I think it's a good point though. Sorry to interrupt you. In terms of why they were applauded off the pitch, I mean, yes, it was probably in stark contrast to the boos that either the team or Frank de Boer or whomever heard when it was against Cincy that they were booed off the pitch in that sense. And
they weren't fully booed, but yes, there were boo birds.
There were some boo birds out there, and so that spurred the spoiled comments from Frank de Boer that he actually did mention that on an ESPN interview, I think with Taylor Twellman over the weekend before the Cincy match. But yeah, he did go back on his words about spoiled. He was saying, yes, maybe that was the wrong word usage, and that is
used to winning, used to attacking football. Right. I think it was just like a loss in translation thing, which isn't shocking, but still, word choice, not always good.
Yeah, indeed.
First impressions are very, very long lasting.
For sure, and so it rubbed a lot of fans the wrong way, of course. But I think that's why at least in this, the applause for this performance, yes, it was a step in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, if they work hard, I think that when you're losing in a situation like that, you just want to see them work hard and give everything for the shirt and for the badge. And I think they did as much as could be expected. The goal itself was very well worked. It was very, very classy, quick play, 1-2 exchanges between Nagbe and Joseph Martinez.
That's what you want to see.
Yes.
An attacker that's close to Joseph Martinez so we can play those combinations, link up.
The finish was incredible.
Yeah.
It was a fantastic finish.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, it's frustrating, I think, because we'll dig into it more with Philadelphia. But I think for me, one of those things that was really frustrating about this game is the fact that yeah, they're the better team, but we could have put ourselves in a position to do a lot more. You know, we could have put ourselves in a position to maybe make it a more competitive tie.
Yeah.
And for talking about giving the Champions League a lot, I don't know, do you feel like we kind of left something out on the table? Because some people are like, yay, we've gone out of the Champions League, but you and me, we want to win everything. That's what Atlanta is about. And I don't know, there's some kind of just not a great taste left in my mouth with the Champions League this season.
I agree. I mean, and that's the main sticking point for me is that, you know, a lot of people were like, oh, this is an extraneous competition or something like that. And I just don't see it that way. I mean, yes, it's our first time in the CCL, but that doesn't mean you're not going to try to win it. And in terms of that, I didn't really see the prioritization of this competition. And yeah, Frank de Boer, if he's prioritizing CCL, then he wouldn't have played a very first choice 11 against DC or Cincy. You know, yes, you're trying to get results in all of them, but the issue and large issue is that, yeah, CCL is the biggest competition that we've yet to be in. And I think you have to, you know, give your honest and best, best effort for it, because the issue is that it's not guaranteed that you're ever going to be in CCL again. So we kind of played that way where, oh, it's like, oh, you know, assuming that we're going to be in this competition in the future. Well, you know, on our current form, if we're going to go with that, we're not going to be in anything if it's currently like that, because the way we're playing is not very promising that we would be able to, win a big match if this is what it is. But yes, we have to be patient. Yes, but in terms of if we're, you know, playing a Julian Gressel in nearly every single match, because yes, you know, Franco Escobar has not been in the team. He's been injured, and Frank de Boer has mentioned that a Franco Escobar is so important in the system, and that's why he hasn't played a 4-3-3. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those, like, why would you play Julian Gressel in pretty much nearly every match until he had to sit, pretty much, because he was injured? I mean, that's the only point that, and so with that type of, like, all the formations and whatnot, the issues that we have, that fans have, all that, like, it's not anything about the formation or the tactics so far. It's about the philosophy going in. We've been just way too passive. We are not aggressive enough in the areas that we need to be, and it lacks conviction, all of it. We really, the fact that we got out of, and we got bounced out of CCL, that's the major sticking point I have, is that why there was panic, why there were people, I think, Frank de Boer out. I'm not Frank de Boer out, but there is that mindset of you have to go for it in the competitions that you're, the biggest competitions that you're in, because otherwise, I mean, it's just, this is the problem. This is the problem of why we are, where we are right now, because we didn't prioritize anything. We prioritized all of it.
It's like, if you're going to prioritize Champions League, then I can accept having 2 points in MLS. But we didn't prioritize Champions League, and we still have 2 points in MLS. Yeah. And it's just like, you know, how the team started playing 60th minute on against Monterrey, where they did change shape and start going forward. Why are we not doing that from the kickoff? We're 3-0 down. Like, if you get a goal, if you go in 1-0 at halftime, the tie is on. Yeah. Because if you can come out and get a second goal at any point in time, at 2-0, they're going to be thinking, we need a goal now. They're going to be caught between the two minds of, we need a goal now, and also, we can't let them score again. And if you got that score to 2-0, that building was going to be bouncing, and Monterrey was going to know that we were going for them. But it was, okay, now it's the 60th minute, we have 30 minutes left, now let's go and try to be really aggressive. And it's like, I don't get that.
It's handbrake football the entire time, where in that sense, we were going out anyway, essentially.
Yeah, we're playing with house money. Why not just go for it? If they score, they score. You're already going to lose anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, you still try to be resolute in the back, but it's one of those things where you have to go for it. And to play where you don't have enough time to, once you score, like it's just, So that's really the bone to pick. And in terms of that now, I think a lot of the fans can be more calm, because, I mean, what it is now is it's the patience game now. Because really, it's yes, there's the playoffs, and yes, 7 teams can get in. So yes, there's not high urgency and whatnot. We can see how this plays out, but there is the other aspect of, yeah, it's one and done in terms of the playoffs right now. And so if you get bounced out,
you're done.
It's one round. That's it.
That's what I hate about this. I mean, it's supposed to make your 34-game schedule longer, but you could play a whole year and then you play 90 minutes and now you're done.
Exactly. And so if
it's very unsatisfying.
Yeah, and if you're in the 4 and 7 spots, I mean, you're likely not going to host a match
when you're playing
at home.
Yeah.
And so if we're persisting with our form on the road so
shipping
far,
goals and scoring none.
Yeah, it's not exactly reassuring. Yes, we will get better, hopefully, but as with current form right now, it's not really reassuring.
Yeah. And speaking of not getting better, unfortunately, guys, now it is time to talk about that 1-1 draw with Philadelphia on St. Patrick's Day at the Bins. It was more like Cincinnati and less like Monterey. It seemed that the positivity that we had from the change of shape didn't really happen. I don't know what we were doing in the first 30 minutes or so of that game.
Yeah, I mean, it's like this. I mean, what the lineup says is a red herring almost always. But in terms of what came out, it looked like we were packing the midfield with a diamond. But yeah, of course, you saw Darlington Nagbe on the left wing back position in terms of the lineup scorecard or the lineup card. But yeah, I mean, it's not the way it played out, of course, and no one would have expected it, really. If it did, then it would have been perplexing. But like I said in the fan cams, it was definitely more like a left wing back optional type of thing. But it made sense in a sense because, Philadelphia Union's, their right side in terms of any sort of attack wasn't really there. So they pretty much eschewed that left side and said, okay, if they were going to attack, then we will rotate out there. But if we don't see any sort of action down on this side, then okay, no big deal. We're gonna continue to try to pack the middle in the diamond. But the issue is that it's very reactive and not very proactive.
And Frank de Boer kind of touched on this a little bit, where he talked about knowing that they were going to play midfield diamond, obviously. So he counters it so that they can't play through the middle. But he also talks about knowing that they would want us to play through the middle. So we ended up playing through the middle. I don't understand. My philosophy of football, and I use that word, I don't understand. It's attack. And maybe that comes from me being a Man United fan, but also from being an Atlanta United fan so far. You can be proactive and attack without having the ball. Now, within this system, we're going to have the ball. Accept that. Possession, they want to keep the ball. But you can be proactive with that possession, like Barcelona. You can go at people. Or you can be reactive and be like, okay, what is it? How can we stop the other team? We're better than everyone else. I don't give a toss about what Philadelphia or Cincinnati or DC can do. Make them react to us. Yep. That's what happened in the playoffs. It was proactive, even though we dropped off and let other teams have the ball. We knew the best way for us to score goals is by using our space, our speed, and we can create and score in transition and on the break better than anyone else. So how do we do that? By letting the other team come up, get comfortable, get out of their positions, and then when we get the ball, we go at them. Philadelphia was playing with a really high line at times.
Yeah.
Why were we waiting and then playing the ball over the top after they had sat deep? Why weren't we playing it early? Why weren't we taking advantage of the space on the wings? Because their whole team's in the middle of the flipping park.
Yep.
Why don't we say, okay, they're packing the middle. That's fine. We'll put 3 guys there just to stop them, and now we're going to go down the wings. The wingers stay wide. Fullbacks overlap. They don't have people out there. They cannot defend spaces out there.
Right.
Why didn't we attack those
areas? And then
areas?
It opens up the middle, and then
the middle is open up because then you force them to pull apart. You force those midfielders to come out into spaces where they're not comfortable, and now you have your space in the middle.
Right.
And the goal did come from a run from midfield and Barco, and it was a good goal. But we don't have enough of that. You need to have guys from midfield arriving late, getting into the box to score, overwhelming the other team with numbers. Right now, it's maybe 3 guys and Joseph being marked by the entire team.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why we're so worried about what everyone else is going to do when we are better than everyone else. Make them adapt to us, especially at home.
And especially against a Philadelphia Union team that has been susceptible at the back. And so, for us to really only get 1 off of them when the other previous teams that played them have scored some goals.
Yeah.
Yes, there is a fatigue factor. There is a
Yes.
a lot of fixtures factor. But, I think with that, though, you still try to set up your team to, really be proactive and really, attack their weaknesses first before then, really trying to, but they might do this, and so we have to make sure we, don't let this happen, yada, yada, yada. I mean, that's really the main problem there. But, I think give credit where credit is due. With Frank de Boer, he did bring on Ezekiel Barco, and it was definitely an instant impact.
Yes.
He changed the game completely. Well, maybe not completely, but at least when he came on. And, but there was still that disconnect after the goal because he was not as vertical as he was when he had first come on. Maybe that's tired legs. Maybe that's just reverting back to what he's used to. But, he's definitely always kind of going a little bit more horizontal than vertical. He's predictable in his movement where he's always probably going to cut inside on his right. And he's probably going to spray that ball over to the right side where Julian Gressel is or whomever is waiting over there. And it's all just a little too predictable.
And again, Philadelphia came in and they would have gone, okay, we don't have our two top summer or winter signings, whatever you want to call them. And they had a 18-year-old who was their best player.
Yeah.
And they're coming in thinking, if we get a point, that's a good result.
Right. And then 30 minutes pass.
30 minutes pass.
No shots.
Nothing. Atlanta had created, 2 chances? Joseph's bicycle kick, and then I guess he hit the crossbar one time.
Right, and that's technically not a chance.
Not a chance.
And then the actual goal.
And then the actual goal. So Atlanta had 70% of the possession and created a lot of piss all. And it's like, why are we worried about a team that's just worried about not losing?
Yeah.
If they come in worried about not losing, why are we not coming in with the attitude of, we're going to make sure we win? And maybe, again, they are tired. But for me, it would have been a 0-point situation for Atlanta United if it wasn't for the revelation that has become Miles Robinson.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
We cannot talk about this Philadelphia game or that Monterrey game without talking about Miles Robinson.
Exactly.
He has been an absolute rock. He controlled Funes Mori, the right one, we should say.
Rogelio's Funes Mori, yeah.
And he absolutely bossed everything in this game against Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Physically, you can't get him off the ball.
Yeah.
Tactically, he seems to be in the right place every single time. And technically, he's controlling the ball, passing it around, dribbling past people, getting people on the half turn.
And he saved one off the goal line.
Yeah.
He has been immense, and he's definitely been our most valuable player so far this season because in terms of our attack, it really hasn't connected yet. So I mean, really, it's been Miles Robinson who has really held together the back line, the team, the
progression from the first game where he was lost at sea to now is night and day.
Sure.
Right now, he's one of the best defenders in MLS on this form.
Sure.
Can he keep that up and establish himself as one of the best defenders in MLS?
For sure.
Let's hope so. But right now, he is playing the best football of his life.
Yeah.
And we really need that right now.
Yeah. And but let's speak about maybe something that was interesting during the match as well was Parkey playing, right after the half, he was playing essentially left wing back or left back. Yes, perplexing. Was he beat? Not really, but he wasn't really bringing a ton forward. Yes, he did, bring the pass forward so that, Joseph Martinez hit the crossbar, but I think pretty obviously that's why he was subbed off it's not quite exactly what we need on the left side. And so it is perplexing why he wasn't subbed off at the half to begin with and kept on. It's strange. But and then you saw, Brek Shea, when he came on, it wasn't exactly, people weren't thrilled. There were some, a little bit of boo birds there as well.
Don't boo our own players.
Yeah,
I have no problem booing it full time if we play badly, but never boo our own players.
Yeah, right before they come on.
Ever.
Because do you think they're going to really give that much for you if you
boo them?
Yeah, like that.
No,
what's the point?
Never, for whatever the situation is, can we please just never boo our own players?
Or at the players on social media and
just kind
trash
of dumb.
them, or
that's dumb. They played badly, but you think they know they played badly. They don't need you saying, I'm going to do something stupid to you. Like, why? Like, don't do that. Don't be that guy.
Yeah.
Don't be that guy. But he came on, did Brek Shea things.
Yeah. I mean,
that's about all you can say.
Yeah, exactly. Crosses that were maybe a little bit maybe too high, overcooked, anything like that. It was pretty much, it wasn't vintage Brek Shea, if you will.
What is vintage Brek Shea?
We haven't seen that obviously, but some team has. But in terms of that, it's like in terms of Barco, let's get back to that positive. That one moment where he was able to win that header, the shortest guy on the pitch wins that header,
scores a goal.
Yeah, scores a goal.
What?
I mean, it's like, is this the Twilight Zone? Like, it's crazy because, but that's that run that we need. We need that run, that ghosted in, that third man run, and a 5'6" guy can sneak in there. That's exactly what it is. Like, that's being aggressive. That is attacking the 6. That's what you need to do. So, and then also, that means Julian Gressel gets another assist. Dude has been just ridiculous, and we'll get to him in the news. But it's just he gets just more stats on a guy that's on very, very low wage. So.
If Robinson can keep up this pace, that first draft class. Pretty good,
man.
Pretty
that
good.
2017 Super Draft. But let's get to the post-match and the quotes and some interesting things that were said, because a lot of interesting things were said. But Frank de Boer did mention about 1-1 being a disappointing result, but he's proud of the team for strengthening the back and trying to force their way into getting that winning goal. Okay, and yes, they were tired. But I think he said they deserve a couple of days off after this. I agree. A lot of the players deserved some rest during this 24-day stretch where we played 5 games anyway, but that's a whole other thing. And he talked about PT Martinez and how, it wasn't maybe his best game. He's trying to get used to a lot of things, new country, new teammates, a new team, of course, and maybe the turf, which is an interesting comment. Yes, he hasn't played on turf yet, but I think it's one of those, like, you're going to hear a lot of Frank de Boer give these little excuses that are just strange, like, i.e., a Brek Shea in the height and the turf. Like, I didn't really, I didn't know what he was on about on that one either. But he knows that PT is a fantastic and quality player. So we all should be patient with him. Yes, agreed. But moving on, he also talked about Tito Villalba and a little bit about him. I'm going to read this one because it's quite interesting here. So he said, quote, "He brings some other dimension to the team, especially some depth to the team, with his running, with also his unpredictable actions sometimes, and I think he did well. He was very good in his discipline playing the midfield when he had to. I already gave him a good compliment, of course. You want him to be more decisive for the team, but still, I think he did quite well." The way I read that is...
That's a Jose Mourinho quote.
Yeah, there's a lot of backhanded compliments in this. But I think, for Tito Villalba, he has played decently well in terms of, willing to make those runs in this match and, always with his work rate. Yeah, yes, is he not as, are the passes as crisp as they need to be? Are the touches as crisp as they need to be? He hasn't really had the matches to get that either. So it's kind of twofold with that. But, it just seems like what Frank de Boer was saying, it was a little backhanded compliment a little bit with, unpredictable actions.
Depth was an interesting word choice. Didn't know we had such a thing.
Yeah, right, exactly. And then, that I gave him a good compliment already. It's like...
Why do you need to tell us that?
Yeah, it's just a bit strange, the wording. And I realized, yes, this is maybe his 4th or 5th language. Yes, he is, very well spoken in that degree. But, I think it's just... there's some things to read in between the lines sometimes. And I think it's just either Dutchisms, Frank de Boerisms, or
Van Gaalisms?
Van Gaalisms, who knows? But all right, but let's get to also he also talked about, or I think Brek Shea talked about Miles Robinson's play, and this dude has been excellent the just entire season. He's acknowledged that he gave him some huge dap in when he made a save.
I think off the line.
Yeah, cleared it off the line. It was well deserved for sure.
I think he gave it to him a couple times when he like physically just moved someone out of the way or just shielded the ball out of play. Like he had some really good moments, and Brek Shea was very, very impressed with him.
Yeah, he was, and I think some of the biggest cheers in the match were for when Miles Robinson made a save or made a tackle, bossed someone off of a ball. I mean, it's just, he has been the most exciting thing in a kind of attack that's bereft of a lot of things going on. But also Brek Shea talked about the team being frustrated right now, and so I'm going to read this quote. Frustration is certainly there. That's pretty obvious. Something isn't clicking the way it did last year. That's on us as a group to find that and figure it out. That's part of it to a certain extent. We knew going into the season that it wasn't going to be easy. So we have to use these next 2 weeks to improve and make sure we are ready to go against Columbus. Yeah, I mean, essentially, that's what hopefully this international break can do for the team, in that not only the rest and rehabilitation and all of that, but I think hopefully the mindset kind of changes and turns into being being more confident, being more convicted in their actions. If you're going to take a shot believing that you're going to score. Make that pass believing that you're going to make the most beautiful pass that you've ever made. And it's just, there needs to be that impetus that we've lacked.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, he talked about before, not in this press conference, but about needing time for training and being able to do 11v11 to help teach his system. It's not ideal because obviously you lose some of your most important players in Tito, Joseph, and PT, but I mean, you still get that time with the rest of your team. If you can sort out everything else, the midfield, the defense, to where this is how they move the ball to get the ball forward quicker, I trust that Joseph and PT can just come back in and it's like, okay, everything behind us is a little bit better now, which then in turn frees them up to do what they're best at. Because PT is one of those guys where he's an artist. He just kind of does things off the cuff. He does them. He has these moments and his brain just thinks a certain way and he creates his moments of magic.
Yeah.
He just needs the ball and to be in a good place with people around him to help him create those things. Yep. Hopefully these are things that can happen over training over the next 2 weeks, which I think are really important. A, the players need rest. B, he's asked for time with the system. Here's some time. Come out against Columbus and give us a better performance, because if you don't, that's when I think you'll really start having more people get frustrated. And I think it's definitely going to be a long haul thing. People need to accept that. Yep. But fans still have the right to be frustrated if they're not seeing progress. And I think that's one of the biggest issues right now, is that the fans aren't seeing the progress. And again, it takes time, but these players are better than what they're playing right now. And I think in terms of what the state of Frank de Boer in Atlanta is right now, it's a very interesting place as we kind of come to the close of, say, maybe the chapter 1 of this season, because now you've had these 7 games, you're out of the Champions League, you're 3 games into MLS. What kind of team are you? I don't think they really know yet.
And that moves us to, you kind of alluded to it, our new segment called State of DeBoer. And so, I mean, we're going to assess some of the fan sentiment, the team sentiment, and our sentiment really as well. So in terms of that, I mean, the fan sentiment is pretty divisive. You have the FDB out. You have the people that are, we need to preach patience and really make sure that we give Frank de Boer enough time. I think it's somewhere in between for us, where you see the frustration because of his history, because of stubbornness, but the fact is that yes, he has, in the last 2 matches, he's changed not only formation but tactics and personnel. So he hasn't persisted with the exact same things that have been kind of plaguing us in the earlier matches. But I think when you see when something has gone well, and then maybe straying away from it, because when we played the 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1 against Monterrey, and we look very good doing it, aka having someone closer to Jose Martinez so they can link him up and give him more service. And then, really, I think the impetus to attack during the last 30 minutes against Monterrey was definitely there. And then, you see a fairly flat performance from the Five Stripes against Philadelphia Union.
Yeah, and I think that plays right into the player sentiment of things, which is that they're clearly just as frustrated as the fans, which kind of goes back to the why are we booing them? They know. They see it. Joseph looks pissed. LGP looks pissed. Yeah. These players look really frustrated. They are athletes. They've been here. A lot of them, you have heard them write and talk about how important the fan base in the city is to them. You think they forgot that all of a sudden? They know what they have to do. They want to win for the badge. They put a star on it. They want to put a second one there. They haven't lost that competitive fire. They are frustrated. They want to play better. Brad Kuzan talked about that in the quote we had earlier. So I think they're frustrated. I think for them and Frank de Boer, it's both patience, hard work, and just with Frank de Boer having a bit of a backbone, and not in a bad way, because I have to accuse him of being stubborn, but he has to believe in what he's doing. I mean, talking about playing PT Martinez because it's the first game of the season and the fans want to see him. I don't care about me. I know that sounds crazy. You're the manager. Make the decision. Have the backbone that says, I'm making this decision because this is the best decision that can help us win.
Right.
At the end of the day, we do this because this is our platform. We want to talk about this. But for managers, they need to make the decision without the outside noise. He needs to be in his office going, what is the best way for Atlanta United to win? If he believes it is a certain way, he needs to do it that way. But if he's going to do it that way, he needs to make sure and make damn well sure that it works and the fans can see it. Because if it doesn't work, that's when we're going to sit here going, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So I think that's the other thing. And the players sit there every single day. And if it's not working for the players are going to look at him and go, what are we doing?
Yeah, there's going to be unrest when that happens for sure from the players as well. I mean, in terms of that, there was a very interesting little, because yes, there has been, in terms of the panic meter, it has been risen a little bit, and definitely people at MLS have even noticed. So big ups to Kaylin Carr and Susanna Collins. Of This Week in MLS, because they shouted us out on their episode last week, so go check them out on their MLS YouTube channel. But they pretty much are seeing that not only our platform but other platforms as well, talking about Atlanta United. Yes, there is a little bit of unrest with the fans, but you should also head over there if you want to see what kind of the side of MLS is thinking about.
Maybe an unbiased side, or if there's other, if you have a craving for MLS knowledge and want to see more stuff about the league, those are your people as well. So in terms of the panic meter, it's getting up there, and I think that now that's just MLS, maybe we can dial it back a little bit and just see and trust the process, maybe, and see how this team grows and how they can progress. But if things don't change and things don't keep getting better, then those angry voices are going to keep getting louder and louder, and those people who are maybe in the middle and not Frank de Boer out, but also not we must support and protect forever and ever, they're going to start going over to one side or the other. And again, it's 7 games into the season. It's what he had, I believe, at Crystal Palace, but
he was not in Champions League.
He was not in Champions League.
That's the biggest.
He didn't have to play 2 matches every week off the get-go. He wasn't there. Yes. He does have excuses that are valid. Are valid. I think at the end of the day is come out against Columbus, play a damn good game, get 3 points, and get us rolling in the right direction. Because 3 games in, still no win. Yeah,
exactly. And so, in terms of, there's a lot of drop points here, and there's a lot of points that we need to make up, or, just try to kind of get where we should be, because we are kind of level on points with a certain someone, and it's not good.
About that.
It's not good.
I don't need any more nuts in my bag.
Exactly. So let's get into the news, and a lot of our players have gone on international duty, as we've alluded to. And I mean, Jose Martinez is off with Venezuela. He's got a match on March 22nd against Argentina, and that is against most likely if he plays at all, PT
Although
Martinez.
there is a guy named Messi who does play as well.
Exactly, and he might see a little bit of time, but I think it might do a world of good for PT Martinez to kind of get a break, get some familiar surroundings, or at least some familiar players around him, and kind of get some perspective about being just making a big move to a team, and you're the either high salary or high transfer fee, or so it might be really good and refreshing for PT Martinez.
Yeah. And they're playing, actually, I mean, they're doing it big. They're playing at this Estadio or Wanda Metropolitana, if you want to call it that, where Atletico Madrid play, which the last time Argentina played in Spain, it did not go well for them. That was in a World Cup warm-up. They got housed by Spain. So interesting that it's in Spain. That kind of stinks. They have to fly over there and get that whole jet lag thing going on.
Right.
But yeah, I mean,
Messi can just stay.
Messi can just stay there. I mean, they're probably being like, "Hey, Messi, you want to do it in Spain?" And he's probably just like, "See." So so we have that. Also, we have Tito Villalba getting to play with Paraguay, teaming up with a former five-striper Miguel Almiron, I imagine.
Indeed.
So we'll see if those two can do anything. They have two matches, one on the 22nd as well against Peru, and another on the 26th against Mexico.
Right, and to also know, PT has two matches as well. And Joseph only has one, so that's good.
Maybe he just doesn't play at all. I'm honestly fine with that. If he just wants to travel around, see his buds, he's going to play, let's be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it's what it is. But and then also Andrew Carlton made the U20s for the U.S. men's national team. So I think he has already made his way already. I saw on his IG story that he was already at the airport. So yeah, I mean, in terms of that, it's good on all of them. Hopefully they all come back healthy. But I think it's a lot of guys in attack that are going away. And so it is a little bit of a thing where, in terms of Frank de Boer and how much he can really implement what he's wanting to do and to make, the players in the attack kind of, think quicker, act quicker. It may not be there for that Columbus match, actually. I think we might have to actually think past that. But is what it is. Let's move on into Gressel, where there was a nice article from Charles Boehm on MLSsoccer.com talking about Gressel pretty much playing like a DP, but not being paid like one. I mean, he has been pretty prolific, and we talked about that super draft class now with Miles Robinson really showing out. But Gressel, I mean, it's almost like a matter of time, really, that if
he needs
German
to get
club,
paid.
comes
he needs
for
to
him.
get paid. And if a German club comes for him, Godspeed. I wish him nothing but the best over there, but I would much prefer him to stay here because I think he could wear the armband here. Yeah. And again, if those stupid MLS rules that Darren Neals kind of referred to last week changed and we could pay him what he deserved, we would pay him what he wanted because, again, he deserves it. Yeah. And he's got his 25th assist in 68 games.
Yeah.
I mean, what else do you want from the guy? He can play wherever the hell you put him on the pitch. He's always going to get you an assist. He's got a wicked cross. I mean, he's an incredible player. And he's definitely a guy that if he can keep improving, especially on the technical side of things, he's probably going to be playing for a Bundesliga outfit at some point in time.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that. But let's move on into, is this a Father of the Year?
People who can do everything. Speaking of people who can do everything,
exactly.
This guy.
This dude is a Father of the Year candidate, I think. Because, this fellow, he's probably the most clever dad in Five Stripes, in the Five Stripe fam for sure. Because, the way he has the... the kid still gets to watch the cartoons or whatever the kid is watching, and he gets to watch his Five Stripes. And it's like, why not? It's just clever, man.
Although to be fair, the cartoons may have been more interesting than that match. So
probably, unfortunately. But anyway, that's it for the news. Let's move on to the mailbag. You guys send in these questions through IG story. Please continue to do so, and we might answer your question in the future. First question comes from FitcherCan69. Why was Parkhurst playing left wing to start the second half? I think we kind of talked about it a little bit, but I think it's pretty much because, I think they were trying to make sure that we had a little bit more on the left side because they recognized probably that we could attack them on the wings. But all of a sudden, it's just why he wasn't taken off again.
Why not just put Brek Shea on at halftime or Mikey Ambrose on at halftime?
Because it was very quickly after that he was replaced.
I think it was like the 56th minute or 58, somewhere in the mid to late 50s. And it was just like, Why even do that?
Yeah. It was
okay.
perplexing that Mikey Ambrose didn't even start this match. Yes, he had played on Wednesday, and maybe he lacks a little bit of match fitness. Maybe he wasn't proving. Maybe he wasn't proving to Frank de Boer that he should be the starter or something. I don't know. Whatever.
Better than everyone else has in that position so far this season.
Yeah. So it's one of those in terms of why he's playing there.
Who knows?
It's that's one of the major questions that we had, and that we continue to have. Just perplexing decisions in game, but. Next question comes from Keaton Thomas 61. Besides Miles, who do you see being the next player to step up and make a big impact?
I think it's Ezekiel Barco for me. I really think that if he can he's improved every performance. He had a great goal. Showed some bravery going for that header as well because he doesn't really ever go for those. Mm-hmm. If he could just be a little bit quicker in his decision making, learn that he can go down the outside and down the wing, and that makes him less predictable. If he could just learn, you're seeing these bits and flashes here and there that it's like, okay, he's making these surging runs now. He's trying to combine a little bit with Joseph. If he can just keep improving and working hard, I can really see where he can start developing and playing the talent that we paid for and that people kind of expect from him. And I think he knows he has to prove that as well because last season was very disappointing. And in the soccer world, if you're a hot prospect and you don't do anything, your meter can cool off pretty quickly. So he knows he has to put out some performances, and I back him. I really want to see him do well. I back him to succeed for us.
Exactly. And he's shown his work rate as well this season where, he's running around like a madman, which is good, but you also don't want to just waste your energy. You also want to be smart with that. But I think, doing that though, he has endeared himself to a lot more of the fans. Yes, not everyone has loved Ezekiel Barco, but I think he is definitely making strides, and he's showing a lot more this season for sure. Next question comes from Nicholsodian. When fully healthy, what is the best formation for this team?
I have no idea.
It's
not 3-4-3.
Yeah, it's it might be a case where if we do persist with 3-4-3, it's not just about the shape. It's about the philosophy. And
the players to a degree, because I think the biggest issue on this team is that your left back or left wing back spot, I think that's probably your biggest weakness on a whole, in terms of where the quality is to the rest of the team. You don't want to bring in anyone super talented because you're trying to eventually develop George Bello.
Right.
But Brek Shea is not really going to be that guy for you, I don't think. Mikey Ambrose is going to be serviceable. And you'd like to see Bello be able to develop and come on later, but I personally think he should just play as many minutes as he can at ATL UTD 2 this season. They seem to be doing better and kind of have more of a philosophy of how they want to play, and I think that could be really helpful because again, he's 17. He's a young guy, so I'm not expecting him to come in and be banging out first team minutes at a top level.
Yeah, but in terms of the best formation.
But how do you how do you play a back four if you don't have a left back?
Yeah,
that's a big question.
Exactly, and right now, our best in terms of width is with wingbacks, essentially, because Julian Gressel, he can play in central midfield as he's shown in the playoffs. He wasn't as effective, but he definitely can play there. I think you just maybe take a hit on what he can provide. So then if you take all that into account, what's best for the team? Maybe it is a Julian Gressel coming inside, and so maybe it is a Franco Escobar playing right back. And you have Mikey Ambrose or whomever steps up playing left back, and then so you can play a four-man back line. Julian Gressel is one of the center mids. Remedi or Lorenowitz, Nagby also as a central mid, and then you have that attack with PT, Joseph, and Barco or Tito. And so I think in that you have some balance, you have a little bit of dynamic, and it still fits in a lot of the best players. And in terms of I guess the biggest question there now is center backs. It's got to be, I think,
Robinson and
LGP. Yeah, because you can see that, you have that little bit of balance. You have the swashbuckling center back that loves to play on the ball, and then you have the more secure, kind of more defensive center back that can really boss guys off the pitch.
Pretty much whatever he wants to do. There's the ball, and there's a person around me. They're not going to get it.
Right.
And I love how he'll just put his arm up and it's just you're not getting past me. Or just jump over them. You're not he's just an absolute unit right now.
Yeah, and as Miles Robinson continues to improve his distribution, then I think, that's probably our best shape and lineup. Whether that can yield the results, that's yet to be seen, because it's about the philosophy again, not just the tactics and the formation. They have to be convicted in what they're wanting to do on the pitch. They have to believe that they're going to just beat you instead of...
They have to believe that the way they're being told to play the game is going to help them beat the other team in front of them. And if they don't, not good.
Anyway, so next question comes from Eduardo V14. Do you see Escobar playing right wing back or playing center back?
Both?
Yeah, I mean, he has shown that he's really, really good at both in terms of right center back at least. And he hasn't played in a two-man center back, combo. But in terms of right wing back, yeah, he showed his gall, his quality in the postseason for sure. And yeah, as a right back as well, I mean, maybe not as secure, but he has been able to show at least more than any guy that we have in our system for sure as a right back. But I think also keep in your back pocket maybe a John Gallagher, who has been making strides at Atlanta United 2, who has shown out really well, at least in the first couple of games. So, the depth that we don't have maybe is actually showing its head at this point. So, next question comes from Matsanine or Matsasine? I think Matsasine. Yeah, here we go. And so the question is, DeBoer out or nah?
Nah.
Yeah, nah. It's one of those things where at this point, because we are out of CCL, that urgency to make sure that we are winning the matches that we need to, it's kind of, yes, we are a team that, should be, and we want to be winning at just every match that we can, of course. And, when we aren't, of course, it's upsetting. But I think it's one of those things where, now it's a patience game.
Yeah, just play patience, give him time.
Yeah, I mean, yes, the whole playoffs thing, yes, if you get bounced out really early, but I think at this point, it's not really the most healthy thing for this club to move out a head coach mid-season if it's slightly working, if it's not working completely, then we can revisit this conversation.
I think the only way, Atlanta United fans need to get comfortable with the idea that he's going to be here the whole season, bar something disastrous happening. If we just start losing every single match and they're hopeless or loses the dressing room, that's a different story.
Right.
But if you can keep the dressing room and can keep improving, then that's what's going to happen. He's going to be here. So it might be frustrating, but for us, you have to be hopeful that the positive result will be come August, come September, this team's going to know how the hell it wants to play, and it's going to start playing some beautiful football and mopping the floor with teams. Yeah. And if suffering and struggling in March, April, and May means that you're absolutely destroying kids moving into the playoffs and you've moved into a strong position where you're going to have home playoff games, I think all of us can deal with that. Last year, if people want to point to the Toronto thing, they went all the way to the final and they put all their eggs in that basket, and it didn't work. And then they had injuries and they couldn't catch up. Atlanta United are not in that position. It's a different situation now. So now, as frustrating as it's going to be, and you're going to hear me bitch about it, you're going to hear Dev bitch about it, you're going to hear him bitch about it if we play badly, because that's what we do. That's what as fans we do. We want them to win. But as long as it gets us in the right direction, that's what it's about. Growth and building and evolving. Mm-hmm. So let's see if we can do that.
Yeah. And again, he's brought in here for kind of bigger picture as well, to grow the kids, to sell these, young players and prospects on. So, he's on a 4-year deal.
And he needs to succeed here.
Yeah.
Like, if he does not succeed here, he's never getting a top-level management job again in his life.
Yeah.
Like, think about that. So it's not that he just wants to come in here, he thinks he knows what he's arrogant, everything is his way or the highway, and then, if it doesn't work out, whatever.
Yeah.
If he doesn't win, and if he doesn't succeed at Atlanta United, his management career is done. So he needs to win here. So it's our job, even though it's frustrating and boring, to back them, back the players, not boo them, not get on their social medias and say they suck. Say, go out there and wish them the best and keep supporting them like we've always done in the best of times. Because it's what you do in your struggling points that really define you as a club. We're struggling a little bit right now.
Yep.
Let's see where we go.
Yeah. Well said, man. And last question comes from Carson, ATL Hawks 26. Tanner, what is something Atlanta United related that you want for your birthday? And also, happy birthday to Tanner. This guy What a legend. And so, yes, right, all in the comments below. Happy birthday to Tanner. But what would you want? What would you want for your birthday?
For us to win a fucking game. That would be great. That would be nice. That would be nice, Carson, is if we could beat Columbus. I'll ask for that. Beating Columbus when we come out of the international break.
Yeah.
Or for PC Martinez to sort himself out.
That's that's a far-reaching birthday present, man. That's like
it's a deposit from the future because I can't have it right now.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of what can I have from Atlanta United right now?
You're investing in the future.
I'm investing in the future.
Sure. Okay.
I'm investing in the future. I'm saying I'd like a win in the future. Now, as far as anything else is concerned, say like Man United, for example, that we beat Barcelona in the Champions League, but that won't happen. Moving on.
Yes, to the question of the day, what do we got?
My question of the day, guys, to you is, how has your outlook changed for Atlanta United this season, having seen what we've seen so far? Has it changed? Do you still think we're going to do well? Now that we're out of the Champions League, does that change what your goals are for the season dramatically? Get down in the comments below and let us know what you guys think.
But guys, that's it for us today. Remember to subscribe if you haven't already, smash that like button, and share this video because it really does help us a lot. And for Tanner McLeod, I'm AJ. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Manchester City losing would be nice as well.